Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's topic is the New York Knicks. Recent report that just came out has the Knicks as the most valuable franchise in the NBA at $4 billion. Now, I've always found them to be very interesting and quite honestly the most fascinating franchise in all sports. Here you are with this team that's been terrible for the better part of the last 20 years, and they're pretty much the sports franchise embodiment of privilege in America. Kind of like that rich preppy kid who does a lot of drugs and still manages to get into an Ivy League through connections. And after graduating, he gets to work for his rich dad, which ironically is James Dolan in a nutshell, the current CEO of the Knicks. So they've always been able to turn a profit despite having a losing record for, like I said, the past 20 something years. And they haven't honestly been good since the Patrick Ewing days. And that's when they had more of a blue collar team with Larry Johnson and Anthony Mason, Latrell Sprewell, Charlie Ward. Now, if you don't know who those guys are, those guys were not necessarily the best players or the most skilled players, but they were tough and they knew how to grind out wins. So if you watch some games and some highlights from back in the late 90s when the Knicks and the Miami Heat had a rivalry, the score of those games were something like 75-70 on a consistent basis. So it's funny that in a glamorous town, their best teams were kind of a blue collar scrappy team. And now you've got the current Knicks, who are bottom feeders yet again, and they are able to turn a profit through really good corporate sponsorships, cable deals, ticket sales at a very high price point. I think they are the most expensive ticket in all of the NBA, and more technically, I think they are a very good real estate play, and I think that's emblematic of the entire economy. So if you look at big cities now like Boston, Chicago, LA, real estate's obviously a big topic just because of the cost of rent, the cost of ownership. But if you were able to buy property in any of these cities in the past, you'd be doing really well right now. And that's how I view the Knicks. They've got their building, Madison Square Garden, in Manhattan, so that proximity to wealth and money and Wall Street provides them with so many sources of income that they don't really need to put out a great product. They benefit so much from location. And they've been in New York for a long time. They have New York in their team name, so that gives them, an extra bit of clout, even if you don't know anything about basketball, just because of what New York City stands for on a global scale. So they benefit also from tourism, retail sales, and honestly, in the front office, you don't really have a whole lot of pressure to perform. If you were in Oklahoma City, you have to put out a good basketball product just because the fans won't pay for it if you put out a crappy team. So here we are now. They've made an interesting move, getting rid of Porzingis and clearing out some cap space for the summer. And let's see if they can finally get some free agents now. Durant's going to be available. Kyrie will be available. And if they are able to land a couple of big free agents and perhaps draft Zion, then we're going to be in an interesting situation. But to summarize the Knicks, they've been born into privilege, basically. And they're more of a real estate play, in my opinion, than anything else at this point. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.